Hey, Billy, put down the pickaxe! It's time for the Gold Prospecting Show! Hey, fellow prospectors. That's right. This is JC with the Gold Prospecting Show, brought to you by egoldprospecting.com. This week, we put down our Diary of a 49er to interview Cordell Kent of Ballarat, Victoria, Australia. His mate found a 177 troy ounce gold nugget just not even a week and a half ago. We're going to learn from Cordell how he did it. This guy's only been prospecting for a year. Cordell's been prospecting a lot longer than that. Stay tuned and find out why Cordell sits around our campfire here at the Gold Prospecting Show.
G'day, it's Cordell Kent from Australia.
G'day, Cordell. This is JC from the Gold Prospecting Show here in the USA. I wanted to thank you for taking a little bit of time out of your busy days to spend a little time with me here around my campfire. You know, I like getting together with other prospectors wherever they are in the world. So thanks for taking some time from the Happy Australia Day celebrations over there.
Thanks, mate. And welcome to, or g'day to all of the prospectors in the States.
Jump right on in. Can you tell us a little bit about your background and how you got started in gold prospecting?
Yeah, my background. I've spent most of my life in Ballarat, and I grew up here as a kid, and I had a gold pan as a 10 or 11-year-old and used to go off down to the creek and pan for gold. But it wasn't until much later, until after I got out of the army, that I came back to Ballarat and did an apprenticeship and then joined the public service. And metal detecting with electronic detectors had been going for a while then, and I thought I'd missed the rush, but an old guy in the office had bought a Minelab 16,000 and everyone laughed at him, and then a week later he brought in 18 ounces. And I thought, wow. And he'd only found that less than a mile from where I lived out in the country at that stage. So I thought, I've got to get into this. So I bought his old detector. He bought a brand new detector. And my wife and I went out detecting, and she wasn't all that keen about it. It was the middle of winter here. And I can remember that first nugget that we found. It was Nugget Gully in Linton. And Kate was carrying the pick and digging the holes. She could never dig the holes in the right spot. And she couldn't hear anything because I had the headphones on. And we found a little nugget, and her comment was, "Good, now can we go home?" And she sacked herself as chief pick carrier and hole digger. And I went out with a mate from there, and it was only about 2 weeks later I found an 8-ounce piece, and she was up before me the next morning, had my lunch packed, thermos filled, and I was told to go forth and find more.
There you go. I guess at that point, did you shift full-time into prospecting?
No, I kept my day job, but it's been an absolute passion of mine. I really have got an affinity with the Australian bush. I've got some of my ancestors were Australian Aboriginal, so I just really enjoy getting out into the bush, and for me, detecting's just great. Like, I used to fish, I used to shoot. When I got out of the army, I went bow hunting from high-tech to low-tech. I've never had a $25,000 a day fishing or shooting, and I've had heaps of them on gold.
Fantastic. Now, a lot of the prospecting that's done over here is placer prospecting, where we're finding fine gold and, you know, maybe a little small nugget or some flakes. I guess predominantly there in the Ballarat area, is it virtually all nuggets?
Well, we're really lucky. We're really fortunate. We're in an area that's called the Golden Triangle, and if you look at maps, there's different golden triangles, but the main golden triangle is from Ballarat in Victoria to Bendigo in Victoria to Wedderburn in the north in Victoria. And 90% of the world's nuggets that weigh over 100 ounces have been found in that area. It's just a nugget-rich area. But having said that, we're so spoilt that we're used to going out and chasing gold with our metal detectors, and those metal detectors aren't inexpensive. They're brilliant technology, but we've got a lot of people that go out with pan, go out with sluices, go out with high bankers, and they're finding good gold too.
Okay, fantastic. When you go prospecting, is there one thing that you want to have in your hand all the time? I
Absolutely.
guess you. Sorry about that.
Absolutely. Without, yeah. The one thing that I've absolutely got to have in my hand is my MindLab metal detector. And it's a GPX 5000. It's just brilliant, brilliant, brilliant technology. Unlike what you've got in the States, we've got a highly mineralised ground that's associated with our gold here, both our alluvial gold and our alluvial gold. And those minerals make it really hard on electronics. They came up with some brilliant technology that eliminated the ground noise, that mineralisation, and lets you hear metallic targets way down deep in the ground. And the depth depends on the size of the target.
Now, I know a lot of the nuggets, or at least the purity of the nuggets that you have, are much higher than anything we typically find over here in the U.S. Is there a reason for that, and what's the general thought of how the gold came to be located there?
Yes, our gold from this region tends to be around about 97-98% pure. So Mother Nature did it right here. I've got no idea why, but it's just beautiful, deep, rich, golden colour. It's not a margarine or some other kind, a lemon type of colour, or a green colour. It's just really, really deep, rich gold. It's worth digging up.
I bet. I think I'd be happy with 80% or less. But I wanted to touch base. You've had a busy week and a half. One of your local prospecting buddies there found a 177-ounce nugget. Now, he wants to remain anonymous, and I can surely understand why he wants to do that. But how did you guys meet and become mates?
Well, I own the Mining Exchange Gold Shop in Ballarat, and we buy gold from the local prospectors. And he's been into us for a while, and he got into detecting last year and bought himself a GPX 5000 and all the add-ons, and he got into a lot of trouble with his wife because GPX 5000 costs a lot more than they do in the US. And anyway, his wife wasn't all that happy, and he was going out madly trying to find gold to pay the detector off to make his wife happy. And he found these little microdots, 0.1 over a gram, and upwards up to about 8 grams, which was his biggest before this piece. So he was out on a very hot day here in the Australian summer, and his target went home. Honey, I've got another one, and she's gone, oh yeah, okay. And he said, no, turn around and look at it. And she looked at it and went, that's not gold. And he's assured her that it was. So then he comes into the shop, and my wife Kate and I know him, as I said, and we've had greetings and a bit of a chat, and he says, mate, this is I talk, mate, I found a good one. And I said, good on him. How big? Remembering that the biggest he'd found is 8 months before this. So he goes, oh, on my scale, mate, it goes 5.4. And I said, what grams? He said, no, mate. And I said, what ounces? Anything? No, mate. And I've gone, oh, heck, do you mean kilos? He went, yeah, mate.
Holy smokes.
And I said, how did you weigh that? He said, oh, on the bathroom scales. And I said, mate, you can't do that. You've got to bring it in. We've got to weigh it properly. So he brought it in, and we weighed it up. And I said, that's 5.5 kilos. And he went, oh, that's not good. And I said, what? He said, yeah. He said, that means I'm heavier than what I thought I was.
Well, when I showed the kids the video of the, I don't know if it's you holding it or what,
Yeah,
that's up on YouTube getting those million views, I showed it to the kids, and they said, Dad, that's not a nugget, it's a boulder. They get out there and they help me whenever I'm out and about, and it's just great times with the family. You know, it sounds like, you know, I've only been prospecting just right at 2 years now, so I've got a ways to go. I've got a mine lab, but a little bit lower scale. I've got their SE Explorer Pro,
Yep.
Is what I'm started with here. And like you were saying, it's not as highly mineralized in a lot of places. So that thing's, I'm finding targets, none of them yellow yet. So
It'll come.
I keep looking. Last week you had posted that you were accepting, I guess, sales proposals for
Yes.
this nugget. And I guess, does the nugget have an official name yet?
No, we're working through options on the name at the moment, and I hope to be able to say more later in the week. But there's a lot of. It looks like so many different things that for history, it's got to be named correctly so that it does take a place in history. Well, I guess reflects more than 1 million views and the massive media coverage that's gone on absolutely viral across the world.
It's fantastic. What kind of response did you receive to that sales process, I guess, initial inquiry process?
Well, under instructions from the prospector to get it sold for a fair price, and get it sold quickly. So he asked me to be the intermediary for that. He doesn't want to be known. He doesn't want his people following him out to his now favoured spot, and he doesn't want an ongoing security risk. So I was trying to get a little bit of footage of the Nugget. My wife held my iPhone. I turned it around in the shop. Everybody says that I'm nervous or whatever. You try and hold 5.5 kilograms of gold that's worth that much money and not drop it while you're spinning it around. That's not easy.
No, not at all.
So to answer your question, the response has been absolutely phenomenal. We've had a lot of interest, genuine interest from people all over the world, and I thank everybody for that. It's been really good. At this stage, my response to questions about whether it's sold is it's not sold until clear funds have hit my account, my business account. So we're waiting for that to happen.
Perfect. Is that 177 ounces one of the biggest single nuggets pulled from the Victoria fields there?
No, mate.
I've heard of the Welcome Stranger from back in, I think that was the 1860s.
I forget the dates, but yeah, we've had 2 super huge nuggets found in the Golden Triangle. The first one was the Welcome Nugget that was found in Ballarat, and that was found, I think about 180 feet, something like that. And that weighed 2,217 ounces. And then years later, the Welcome Stranger was found at Black Dog Lead at Malagal, which is about an hour and a half north of Ballarat. And that came in at about 2,500 ounces, and it was at a depth of 2 inches.
Now, I guess is your mate planning on prospecting full time now?
You're joking, JC. He was back out the same afternoon.
Working the same area, probably.
Yeah, he was. Because I just had a throwaway line with him. I said, gee, mate, this might be the small one. The big one might be out there. And he flew back out and kept going.
That's great. Now, I have, I guess, heard that the nuggets there are found in patches. So it's very possibly likely that there might be something bigger there.
Yes. For us who have been prospecting for more than 20 years, we tend to find gold in patches or the remnants of patches. That's where the gold's concentrated. You've had a reef outbreak over millions of years. It's laid down. Gold behaves like water, so it's always looking for the lowest point on its way down to an alluvial system. And while it's travelling across the ground, it's called alluvial gold. And that's the type of gold that we tend to find here. And it's got a lot of character, a lot of personality, very high purity. And you get concentrates. Like I said, it's behaving like water, so it's like it's been laid out in the water line.
Perfect. Now, you detail his detector setup, fair bit of detail at your website over at thegoldshop.com.au. And is his setup pretty typical, or is it just, sort of set up to match his prospecting, detecting style?
Okay, he got into it, like I said, less than a year ago, and he wanted the biggest and the best, so he was he bought a lot of gear, probably more than you need to get started. But he had a large coil as well. I think it was about a 16 or an 18 inch, and he was working and he was missing small pieces. So I'd said to him one time when he was in the shop, have a look at the Advantage Plus Sadie coils. They're a very small coil, but they've got a lot of power. And he wondered about that, and I said, no, I'm not finding a lot of small coils. And I found a few others, a 2 ounce and an 8 ounce that were down deep. And I said, if you think about it, you've got one battery, one power supply, one control box, and you've got control over the coil. If you're running a big coil, all that juice has got to go into the big coil. If you've got all that juice going into a small coil, you'd think that you're getting maximum power out of that coil. It also makes it a lot easier to work. And he took my advice and he went and bought one. And that's what he found this Nugget with. In an area, mind you, where the old time miners had worked, for the last 30 years or so, just about every man and his dog that's a prospector has worked with a metal detector, including, I've walked over the side around it, but it just had his name on it. It was the one that was meant to find it.
Awesome. Now, over here we have the Gold Prospectors of America Association. They maintain claims throughout the country for us to detect on, dredge on, and do other prospecting. Can you tell me anything about the local prospectors associations there in the Ballarat area?
At a statewide level, in our state, Victoria, we've got an organisation called the Prospectors and Miners Association of Victoria. It's abbreviated to PMAV. And it's been going for, I think, a bit over 30 years now. And they're a very active organisation trying to make sure that access to the goldfields is kept in perpetuity for generations to come to enjoy prospecting. I think all around the world the green movement is trying to lock off access to public lands. And look, I've been out in the bush for, like I said, more than a couple of decades. The only people I see out in the bush are prospectors, and most of them, 99% of them, fill in their holes, take their rubbish with them, they maintain tracks, and they're out there because they love the bush and they enjoy walking through the bush. So the PMAV's been really good, but in Victoria we lost dredging, that was about 20 years ago, I suppose. So we can't legally dredge here. Some would say you can dredge, but you can't get caught. But it's very much frowned on. So yeah, the PMAV has got branches throughout the state, and those branches meet on a regular basis, and they're full of like-minded people, men, women, and children and families.
That is fantastic. I tell you, prospecting is a great family hobby. And there's something for everybody to do, from the littlest ones all the way up. And, you know, the PMAV, yes, it sounds like they're doing a great job to protect the future of prospecting in Victoria and across Australia.
Just a little bit of history. When gold mining, gold discovery took off in Victoria in 1851, the British government, or their representatives here, had a very unfair licensing system. And it was just oppressive. You had to pay for your licence up front. It was worth about an ounce of gold, and that was only for a month. Mind you, this is after you travelled half the world to get here and you spent everything you got. Walked 80 miles. Yeah, 80 miles across country to get up here and start work straight away. By 1854, there was a major unrest with the miners in Ballarat, prospectors and miners, and they rallied against the government officials, and they had a brief fight with them that's gone down in history. That was called the Battle at Eureka Stockade. Both prospectors and miners, troopers and police were all killed at that, and all of the people that were captured were charged with sedition, which could have been a hanging offence back but the media got hold of it. Unfortunately, they went on to have a free life. But most importantly, the miner's license from before that battle was replaced with the miner's right. Now we pay about $30 to have access, $30 for 2 years to have access to Crown land and private land where we've got permission as the landholder.
Okay, that's pretty reasonable. Well, tell us a little bit about your business. The gold, I believe it's the Mining Exchange
That's
Gold
right,
Shop.
the Mining Exchange Gold Shop was started as a retail outlet, if you like, or a retail face about 16.5 years ago by my wife Kate and I. I own a company, Australian registered company called Australian Native Gold. I've been trading for more than 20 years as a specialist gold nugget dealer, and I make gold nugget jewellery. And our wholesale business reached a point where it was pretty huge. We left Ballarat alone, so we looked for a location, found the Mining Exchange, and did a deal and got the site that we're in at the moment, and it's just gone from strength to strength. And I'm sure a lot of your listeners have been into it in the past, and hey, thanks. Come back.
Now, I want to invite everybody to visit you over at thegoldshop.com.au. You've got a nice gallery there of some of the nugget pieces, and I imagine when this most recent nugget, the 177 ouncer, sells, there might be some information there about it.
Look, I'm really stuck on putting stuff up on the webpage, and I do apologise about that to everybody. I was actually the first person in the world to put gold nuggets on the internet. We were the first nugget website in the world, and it was really good and exciting back then, but it's just become hard work. So I'm going to try and keep up to date with everything that's going on, just so everyone can enjoy it.
Fantastic, Cordell. And I want to thank you, everybody. This is Cordell Kent from the Mining Exchange Gold Shop in Ballarat, Australia. That's Victoria. So if you get over there, make plans, stop in and talk to Cordell. He's great. He loves prospecting. He loves seeing the yellow. So get out there, take a tour, find a nugget, and bring it into him. He'll love to see it. Cordell, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, Jason, and listeners.
Thanks. Take care. I want to thank Cordell for taking the time out of his busy schedule. I mean, he's been interviewed by CNN and BBC and all over the place. So it was great to get a few minutes of his time there on a national holiday. It was great experience. I really enjoyed it. He's a great guy. As soon as I let the kids hear this, my boy, he's 13, he said, "Dad, how much is a ticket to Australia?" I said, "I don't know, son. Probably more than we'd like it to be. But guess what? If we find a nugget like that, it'd be well worth it." Thanks, guys. This is JC with the Gold Prospecting Show, brought to you by egoldprospecting.com. Jump in, join me over there. I'll help you out with all of your prospecting needs. We've got a lot of things going on. So here in 2013, may you find what you're looking for. Tune in for next week. Take care, guys. Thanks to Jason Shaw of Audionautics.com for the music used under Creative Commons license.